Welcome everyone, and today you join me at Monkhall Fishery on the lark pool. Now I'm sat on peg 15, which is the peg I recently won a Wednesday Open match on. I wanted to come back and show you the areas of the peg which are caught in and why I target these areas. So what I'm going to talk about first is when I've drawn the peg, what I've done when I've come to it, and why I've picked these areas. Now when I've drew the peg, as you can see now, there's a point across from me and it pans round to a nice bowl. There's an area and a nice long edge. Now with peg 14 being in the match, it makes it really simple. I'm just literally going to draw a line down the middle and focus on in front of me and to my left. So this eliminates any fishing down the right edge or right down the middle or right across on the far bank. Don't get me wrong, if the guy next to me starts catching, I might have to push that way if the fish are that way. But what happens is naturally the fish will push down, because peg 1 was in as well across from there. They'll push down and sit in this bowl or sit down the edge, and that's where you've got to target. So what I was saying is, when I've come to the venue, come to my peg, areas to fish. Now people sometimes are unsure where to fish and can't make a decision straight away on this matter. Well, I like to keep it dead simple. With these snake lakes, there's going to be a shelf across, the track, which is the middle of the canal, and you're going to have an edge. Now luckily on this peg I've got a massive edge, so I can fish anything from 5 metres down to 16 metres down towards the area. But this can be quite confusing for some people in where to fish and what to look for. So what I'm going to do in this video is run you through where to fish down the middle, where I've caught really well, and then down the edge, look, plumbing up, look what you need to look for to get the best from your swim. Now this edge is really unique. It's quite rocky at first. It comes out about 5 metres and it cuts back in, and then from say 7 metres down the reed line is 3 foot deep. Now close in it's only say that deep. So this is really important when choosing where to fish. You don't want to fish too close to yourself, you don't want to fish too far where you're going to have foul hookers and a lot of fish coming in your peg. So you've got to get it the right area for the situations on the day. So this is why I've come back, sat down on the peg, and what I'm going to do now is talk you through where to look for, why I do this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run you through my rigs I chose to fish there, plumb up, just show you why I've fished there, when to fish there, and how I've fished it. So first of all, we're going to start with the edge rig. Now I'm a big lover of short kits. For me F1 fishing, I feel like the fish come up quicker, you can catch a lot quicker, and you got a lot more control. Now in my elastic I had a 9 drawer slip. This is my go-to winter elastic now. I've used it for the past few weeks and I'm really impressed with it. It's never let me down. Nice hook hold, nice and soft on the strike, but powers up if you're catching really quick. Catch them odd bonus carp. Now with it being a bit colder, it's a bright winter autumn day today, so fishing's getting a lot trickier, so the rig suits this. Now I've dropped down to an 015 mainline. This is because simply it's still nice and robust, but I'm using lighter hook lengths and using 011, 010, 09. I'm very rarely using 013 now unless you're catching carp dobbing, but 015 to 013 is fine. This is down to an F1 maggot, 4x10. Now the rig's changed for this time of year. When the water's coloured and you're trying to catch a lot of fish tight in the edge or just off the bank, you need to get your rig in position quickly. Now this doesn't change in the winter, but you can just, there's not a lot of fish, there's less fish, coming into your peg, so you can get away with a slower fall and lighter rigs. Now if you've got a slower fall, clearer conditions, the fish will see your bait for longer. So I've got a 4x10 F1 maggot. It's just blackened out the tip just because it's nice white water down there. In the winter you find you can fish a lot more black tips, and it's really good because you can see it really visible in the white water and all them sharp dinks. Now I've simply got a nice strung bulk, 3 inches apart, of number 11s, I think there's 5 on there, down to a 4-inch pre-tied SFL in 18, 011. Just keeps it nice and simple. So the rigs aren't massively different, they're just nice and delicate, so you can still catch them fish, but you're not fishing too heavy. Now for the track swim, which is down the middle bit, basically in the deepest water you can find, I've got the same elastic again, same main line. This time I got a 4x12 F1 maggot. This because the conditions on the day were exactly like today. Flat calm, hardly any wind. And like I was saying before, you want to use the lightest float you can get away with for the situation. That's probably 5 foot deep, just under 5 foot. So 4x12 is lovely in this condition. It falls through the water nice and slow. You can catch a lot of eyed on the drop, and them F1s will follow it down. Going down again, strung shotting pattern, number 10s this time, just spaced out about 3 inches apart, just so you can get that nice effective fall on the way down and catch some wary fish on the drop, and you catch some eyed as well. Same again, 4-inch 18 SFL 011 pre-tide, just cut it down, nice and simple. So they're the rigs. Now I'm going to show you what I look for when I'm plumbing up, why I look for it, and how I plumb up. So when plumbing up, the track swim, which is basically the deepest water in the middle of the channel. So you can imagine now, you can see the far side, the reeds, it'll be in the middle. So what I want to do, I'm going to grab my rig, slide my plummet on. It's got a nice 20 gram plummet there. And what I want to do is I just like to start on your top kit, just so you know what the slope's like. Just go out bit by bit. Say we're going 5 meters there, halfway down, where we're going to fish. So you can see we're a bit too shallow there at the minute. So what we're going to do, whiz back, push my back shot up, coming down. So now that is perfect. So that's the bottom of the body. So it's nice on the bottom. Now, because you got your line, so I'm lined up with the net carrier over there on peg 3. Go down. I know every time I flip my rig out, I'm going to be fishing in the right spot. But the most important thing in plumbing up is not really where you're fishing, it's where around you're fishing. What I mean by this is I don't want to move 2 foot to the right now and find it comes up 2 foot, and then go to the left and it goes down. So I'll be fishing in an unnatural area where the fish want to come. So what I like to do is come a section back. Now that's 3 inches shallower. So if I come a section back, which is that there, the pole, say what's that, a metre or so, that there at the pole is 3 inches. So if I go halfway down, it's perfect. So from there to there, it's a 3-inch difference. So if I'm fishing from halfway down the number 5 section it is on this pole, from there to there where I'm fishing, it's flat. Now what I want to do as well is go halfway down my number 6 joint. Just see. We've got the same depth there. Go fully out there, same depth. Same depth. So what I'm doing now is I'm going round like a dinner plate and seeing what the area is like. There's no difference to when I'm fishing. Just push it past where I'm going to fish. Let me come up there. There you are. So where I'm going to fish now, I know in the massive area it's all the same depth. So when I'm feeding my bait, if I need to put a section on a flip rig past, I can. But I know when the fish are going to come to that area, they're going to settle on a nice big square foot of water, which they can settle on, graze over, and this eliminates foul looks and problems. So that's what to look for when you're fishing this way. You don't want to be fishing on rocks, divots, stuff like that. So it's just important just to go around your peg and see what it's all like. So I know from there to the full section it's all the same depth. So that's me fishing in the deepest water I can get into and where the fish are going to sit, and it eliminates any problems you're going to have. That's just one thing you want to keep when plumbing up the middle line, is just make sure if you get this wrong, it can cause the foul lookers, miss bites, and just a general problem. And when you're in a match situation, when you're fishing for not a lot of fish this time of year, it's really important to make sure you get that nice flat area. Don't get me wrong, on some venues you might hardly get, that's a big area that is, So on some venues you might only get, say, 2 foot square of it or a foot square, but as long as it's a nice area you think the fish are going to come happily and feed and not cause you issues, that's where you want to be fishing. So what I want to do now is just spin round and plumb the edge up, because that is really interesting on this peg, and I just want to make sure that you can get it right. So when plumbing up down the edge, I'm going to be looking for a certain depth. As I spoke about, I've gone for 3 foot. Now this is a great little starter in the winter for where the fish can sit. Don't get me wrong, if you're going to the venue and you know the fish are sitting in 2 foot, 2.5 foot, this is what to look for. But if you haven't been to the venue for a while, a rough guy just starting 3 foot, that's normally a good starting place for F1 fishing. If you're getting some liners, you can come up to shallow water. If you're not getting bites, you can drop deeper, but 3 foot is a good starting depth. Like I said before, when I talk about my edge, this edge is really interesting, and there's parts of the peg where the fish are a bit different depending on how I was catching. So what I'm going to do now is spin round, shove my plummet on, and show you what I mean by this. So I've got my plummet on my rig now, and what I'm going to do, just start at 6 metres. This because I just want to show the difference. So what we're going to do, so in line with the post there, this is 3 foot. See now, it's 3 foot there, it's quite flat, it's a nice area. Don't get me wrong, if I come to my left here, it comes up probably about 7-8 inch, keep coming again, a little bit more as it comes dead tight to the board to the left. Now, if the fishing was, say, October time, early spring, not the depths of winter, starting in 3 foot here would be really good, because when you plumb up there, if the fishing's good, you can come up into the shelf and shallow water. So if there's a lot of fish coming in, you can come further into the bank. Now, if you put a section on, this is when the peg gets really interesting. So you think there is where 3 foot is, there. So it's about 4 foot off the bank. If I put another section on, 3 foot, all of a sudden, it's 2 foot off the bank. So it's there. Now if I put another section on, it goes tight to the reed line. So from there, round, there's like a big rocky bit, like a plateau. So in the winter months, or the springtime, or the autumn time, you'll be able to work off your depths on this bit. But as soon as you go past this 7th section here, just past there, the reed line gets 3 foot. So you're not going to get any shallow water than 3 foot past this point here. So what I mean by this is, when you're fishing where fishing can get good and the fish want to push into shallow water, then this is the area of peg you want to be fishing. About 6-7 metres pound, you can find the bit. It's a nice rocky shelf. But in the winter months, when they're fishing really hard and they want to fish under features, like today, it's a bright sunny day, then ideally you want to be looking for the 3 foot, 3.5 foot along that reed line further up the bank. Now, if you went 16 metres down your peg in 3 foot and you got lined, like I said before, you're knackered because you can't come into any shallow water. But say if you got lined here, and then easily I can come tight to the reeds, where it's about 6 inches difference, I can get some shallow water. So that'd be 2.5 foot. Now, even again, if I come to here, I'd probably get 2 foot. So that's what to look for when you're plumbing up your peg. Don't get me wrong, that's what you want it like there, nice and hard bottom, bouncing my plummet around. It's going down a shelf there now, all nice, and so the fish can creep up the shelf and intercept your bait. But when it's a bit harder and you want a bit more cover, then the reed line further up is where I'm looking to fish. Now on the day I fished there in 3 foot, it was really good. Now this is because I felt the fish were creeping from the area around, pushing up that shelf, and the 3 foot was perfect. Don't get me wrong, if I had a lot more fish coming in, or maybe some carp, I'd maybe push up into there. But I found 3 foot, I didn't get any issues, so I didn't need to move. So that's a simple little tip. If you don't get any issues and you're catching steady, don't think about your depth wrong, just keep catching them. If you're missing bites and foul looking fish, try and feed a bit less, but if you can't, try and come into a bit shallow water. Might be even 3 or 4 inches make a difference there, just so it calms down a little bit. Don't think you can always move back down to 3 foot, even 4 foot even. You can control your peg a lot better like that. So that was a rundown of the peg I fished on Wednesday. in Monkhall Fishery. Don't forget, when you're looking at areas to fish in your peg, look for areas which when you're plumbing up, it creates less hassle. Just remember, try and find a nice bit area where the fish can come in and feed without any issues at all. Same as down the edge. If you need to fish on the shelf, just remember the fish can creep up. But if the fishing is really hard and you need a bit of cover to fish to, go a little bit further and fish in that 3 foot, 3.5 foot. Now, a lot of people struggle with plumbing up, so I hope this helps you. Hopes you the understanding of when I come to my peg, what I'm looking for. Don't forget, I had a guy next to me, so that eliminates the right side of my peg. So I'm focusing on across on the point, down the edge and short. Gives me 3 areas in my peg and gives me an indication of where the fish are going to be on the day. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the bank soon. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and cheers for watching.